Hi, and welcome back to Blue's Garden. This is a short little gardening tour and also harvesting tomatoes and what I would do with them when I have so many tomatoes coming in. These guys are some Roma tomatoes. They are a determinate tomato, which basically means the plant grows to a certain size and most of the fruit comes at about the same time. They're grown mostly for paste. And tomato sauce, and it makes sense. You get these big harvests all the same time, and that allows the farm and harvester and processor a big bounty to make big batches of sauce all at the same time. I am also going to harvest my giant crimson. I've got a few of those. I've got to check out some of my zucchini squash too while I'm growing. These are some brandywines, another indeterminate, which means they just keep growing until the frost or disease kills them. The dead branches I'm going to prune off, and if they're not diseased, I'm just going to take the deads and toss them into the compost pile. Back there in the corner, you saw the compost pile behind the tomatoes. Some more garden waste, just trimming up some of the dead parts of the plant. Again, anything that's not diseased goes in the compost pile. If not, it goes into the recycle bin. I've got a very ripe yellow-orange cucumber. Part of the problem is I wasn't here for a bit. Very ripe yellow-orange. That is an extremely bitter fruit. Once it gets to that point, the plant basically dies. It stops all energy to everything else, any other fruits, and sends it all to that one. That's the stage where you want to harvest the seeds from it. Right now I'm doing some weeding around my zucchini. You don't want anything else, competing for those resources. Pop some of the weeds out around the zucchini and the squash. I got good success from my zucchini plants, like everybody does, but I didn't get as much of a success from my yellow squash. I think of the 4 plants, I got 1 yellow squash, maybe 2. It's a little more indeterminates, just collecting as many tomatoes as I can. I'm going to pull out the dead cucumber now that the vine is basically dead. Once it gets that overripe, like I mentioned, the plant dies off. It's done growing. And all of the energy goes to just making those seeds viable. That's the dead cucumber. Here's my sweet potatoes. And I've got a little flower coming. And it looks like a morning glory because they're all from the same family. Browns and greens mixed in. I got a lot of cardboard. We all do from any of the deliveries. This here is my Boston pickling cucumber. The vine is growing very well. Pick up some of my yellow plum. Grab some of the sweetie tomatoes. Anything that's basically done. Every little bit helps. Here's a couple of Tigerella tomatoes. I'll let them sit out and ripen. Once they get good and red, and I will then take them inside and use them as some of my puree. A few more of the sweeties. That one's not right. Split. I've got enough that I can afford to toss the one into the compost pile. Pretty decent harvest. Nice little haul. Now, basically what I'm going to end up doing is pureeing all of the tomato that that harvest that you saw that I took a picture of. I don't need any of those for fresh eating. I've got plenty all ready for fresh eating. So most of that's going in, unless it's just not ripe yet. But most of that's going into the puree that I'll make. I will puree up tomatoes as I come across them and as they get very ripe, and I can't use them daily fresh. This puree I end up freezing. And then come October, I'll take all of the frozen puree, tomato puree, and I will make big batches of tomato sauce. I might boil some down for paste, but most of it is sauce that I can just take out. I don't spice up the sauce a lot because sometimes I will make it for different types of foods and I want to spice individually. Basically what's going to happen is everything goes in, skin, flesh, the seeds, everything goes in with the exception of the core. Any of the large slicers, I will cut out the core and that does not go in, but everything else will go in. Everything in, Roma tomato, everything in, except the core. And I'll pulse it a few times. And that will give me the puree that I want to then freeze. Everything in except the core, pulse it a few times, bag it up. Freeze it. Now I'd probably do this about once a week, whatever I didn't use that week that got harvested, and any large harvests that there's no way I can get to. And about once a week, pulse it up and into a Ziploc for freezing. So it goes from ripe tomatoes to a frozen puree that I will show you part 2 in October. Please like, share, and subscribe. It helps me grow, and that helps you grow.